This week on the Rental Report Review: Magic Crystal, Leadbelly, Better Luck Tomorrow, Paris is Burning, Police Tactics. All right, we all know why I'm here. I am a massive fanatic, stan, simp for Cynthia Rothrock, the greatest ever American martial artist to hit the silver screen. I think so. I will watch anything she's in, at least once. This movie has everything 13-year-old me and 43-year-old me wants in a movie. Globe-trotting, secret agents, martial arts babes, and slapstick comedy. This is 1986. In America, this is the same year as Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Top Gun, Stand By Me, Labyrinth. 1985 was the year of Back to the Future, Goonies, Thunderdome. I don't know, I fear to say how many movies in this sort of sweet spot of preteen, early teenage adventure stories for boys. Mostly boys, don't get me wrong. I feel it should be much more diverse. As much as this film has a lot of Goonies in it, a lot of Indiana Jones, even though it's a bit of a pastiche, it goes really hard. I mean, what am I trying to say? The martial arts and action choreography, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to go back to this again and again, but it is just entirely on a different level. Many of these films touched the pinnacle of expression through human movement. I mean, not only are they technically impressive, not only do they require a great amount of skill and dexterity, not only are they inventive, many of these films explore the full gamut of choreographed movement in cinema. I give Magic Crystal 4 stars. Even in a film that should be, for all intents and purposes, laughed along with for its vague homage to other films, it's so worth the watch and so much fun just linking these incredible action sequences together. I don't know, put yourself in the shoes of being a kid and totally in love with the optimism of an adventure film, especially one that is, I don't know, this is one of the ones that suspension of disbelief was invented for. Just enjoy it. It's fun. Have fun. Be a fun person. I mean, what more could you possibly want? It was almost impossible to find anything on this film. This is Gordon Parks' 1976 biopic of Leadbelly. Biopics are hard to do. This is the same year Taxi Driver comes out. It's a moment of huge transition in American cinema between generations. And this film is riding an interesting wave between two eras of filmmaking. Gordon Parks takes what, in other hands, be a standard cradle-to-grave biopic and turns it into an incredibly nuanced, emotional, powerful, cathartic narrative, not only about an important historical artistic figure, but he grapples, I hate going back to the well and grapples, but he grapples with the artist's dilemma of where does music, where does any sort of art come from? Who has ownership over it? What is its duty and obligation? Is it a way of processing trauma? Is it just for pure amusement? The truth really is, and I think that's what's so beautiful and transcendent. I don't know, who's to say, right, about this film?
You know it's hard killing time now.
There's a thin line between commoditization and transformation, right?
You shut off that laugh and I'm gonna shut it for you. I'm gonna stick you right in your kisser. You hear?
I mean, music, art works because of its ability to reach people regardless of the space-time in which they exist. Well, I mean, I guess it propagates in one direction. It's a very interesting phenomenon, and it often doesn't even require the understanding of the textual layer. You don't need to understand the lyrics to feel and understand. I give Leadbelly 4.5 stars.
What's your name? Leadbelly.
After a deceptively competent first third of the movie, it goes into areas of masterful, nuanced acting and directing. Roger E. Mosley is titanic in this performance. I mean, I need to go into more of it, but I hope the man lived amazingly well off of Magnum PI royalties. But the more I see of his work in this time, it's jaw-dropping.
I figure I better take that knife back close.
Tetrahydrocannabinol.
I didn't ask a question. Were we competitive?
I'm very bummed I missed this film the first time around. I mean, coming out of this, Justin Lin is so obviously a director to watch.
The amoeba to death.
Sure, the stylistic flourishes are great, but what I think I loved even more is this sort of recontextualization of the troubled youth narrative. And here, Justin Lin, through the crime subgenre, right, is exploring the Asian American psyche through something just short of a gang film.
Yeah, if you're clever enough.
I think maybe where this film doesn't feel totally complete, or which maybe makes it a little bit more unique, outside of an insane ending, stridently decides not to fully dip into a crime film, but also remains a teenage coming-of-age story. Maybe that uneasy relationship between those two genres makes for a very engaging and memorable film.
Oh, like a math club or something?
I give Better Luck Tomorrow 3.75 stars. I think the only real shortcomings of this film are pretty typical of any early filmmaker. Where Justin Lin succeeds most is when he seems to be embracing what drives him rather than when he's playing in a sort of knowing homage to the films that have clearly inspired him.
Stay on it.
I think I'm gonna have to watch Tokyo Drift. Dun dun dun. I mean, what could I say about Paris is Burning that Paris is Burning doesn't say about itself? I love documentaries at this time This is part of the great surge of incredible American documentaries coming out of the 70s and 80s. I don't know if this is still contrary to popular belief, but I think there's something more immediate about documentary shot on film rather than our current instant digital capture and distribution system we have. I think it's because when you're limited to shooting 11 minutes at a time, maybe a little bit longer if you have special equipment, especially as an independent documentary filmmaker, and especially if you're trying to capture something verite, I mean, it takes a lot of money to buy and process and print 11 minutes. So you have to go in with great intention and great focus into these moments, into these interviews. And I think it made for incredibly sharp documentaries up through this, because this is sort of the tail end of the film era in documentaries. And it captures a moment just before it slips away. It's capturing the ball culture just before it dissolves through the broader culture. I give Paris is Burning 4 stars. It had incredible access to a very specific corner of the world. I just wish it went a little deeper with one or two of its subjects. But I mean, really, that's kind of minor nitpicking. What is here is immensely captivating, urgent, and beautiful. This film is totally relentless. Police Tactics is the fourth in the 5-part Yakuza Papers / Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. My sort of vague understanding is that the first two were kind of considered a pair, and then further films were greenlit thereafter. This film picks up the real-to-journalism account as the Yakuza in Hiroshima are transitioning into the burgeoning world of going straight and corporate. The final alignment around power vacuums is resulting in perpetual explosive violence that is spilling out from Yakuza on Yakuza to now many innocent bystanders are also being taken out in the process, to where the police now have to figure out how to hem a line with where Japan is now evolving from to a new era post-occupation, where the Yakuza were instrumental in regulating black markets, keeping the peace to a certain extent, to partnering with, let's say, shadier elements of the military-industrial complex in order to facilitate proxy war throughout Asia. I think where I like this film and this series most is when it is, like The Wire, examining the systemic issues with personal narratives at the core. I can't help but feel that this film is dependent on the movie that's coming after it, the final chapter. So it doesn't really feel like it's treading water, but the expectations set up by the second in this series are just so high. And again, there is just so much being set up that you really have to focus and use a lot of energy to track everything. And I'm sure repeat viewing will be rewarded. I mean, it's a lot. And if the fifth and final chapter of this is able to stick the landing, I think it'll definitely make this film retroactively that much more satisfying. I give Battles Without Honor and Humanity Police Tactics, I'm going to say 3.5 stars. I was going to talk a little bit about the techniques of filmmaking of this movie, but I think I'm going to save that for either the next movie or maybe a video all on its own. Because this film and this series is a great example of how the marriage of technique and subject is able to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The fusion of documentary techniques with journalism, nonfiction writing, and narrative and genre synergized to create something totally original and totally in alignment with all the objectives of the film and the filmmakers. I'm just really hoping that fifth film brings it home. I'm loving the ride either way. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram and X to see what movies I'm renting next, and pretty much everything is on my letterbox. I am going to go watch some more movies. I hope you do too. Pretty well.